I could have kept going, Mike. You know I could have, but I kept it short for our video.
I'm going to try and sing again, Mike. I'm going to try and make this a thing.
If you're on the front lines of the mortgage industry, change is very important. One is change your perspective. What you've been consuming 2 years ago, a year ago, is not the same environment as it is today. And on today's show, we had the opportunity to see from a real leader, Chuck Iverson, a macro view, but also we were able to zoom in down to the loan officer level and talk about the behaviors, the attitudes, and the techniques. Ones that worked in the past, that work today. We talked about top of the funnel metrics is a part I really enjoyed. And he talked about how his top producers, when they discuss or when they're talking with their peers, they don't talk about loans funded. And I think this industry gets very caught up in, does your product work on loans funded? It goes all the way back up to how many calls did you make? How many meetings did you have? How many meaningful conversations did you have? These are the type of metrics you should be able to figure out what your closings are if you're hitting those metrics up front. And one of the parts I enjoyed the most is just talking about how we as a podcast, what Mike and I do on the MikeDrop show, it's about consistency. And where it's important is that omni-channel or that digital in-person hybrid. And I think we talked about maybe some loan officers have chased the shiny star of having a video that looks very similar to these TikToks, and they become an influencer of mortgage when they're really not ready for that. Instead, they need to just be on video where somebody is getting to know that person. Have you ever touched the top of a Instagram and you kind of see that real type feed of somebody and you get to know them because it keeps putting you up there? That should be you and your community. They should get to know you through your content. This was a big takeaway, and this is something that I look forward to talking about in the future.
It's Schoolhouse Rocky, a chip off the block at your favorite Schoolhouse Rock. And I think that's what we really got a chance to learn today, is that as your mind grows bigger and the capacity for your willingness to learn through change, especially in an ever-growing, ever-changing industry as the mortgage industry today, I think there's a tremendous amount of opportunity at the independent mortgage banker level. First thing that we learned today is know your product, okay? If you get to know your product, then you get to know what is it that you can offer to all of your agents and all of your customers. But even more importantly, you can go narrow at the same time. If you're going to be working with the owner-occupant, know those first-time buyer programs. If you're working with the investors, know your non-QM programs. So just because you have a wide range of products doesn't mean you have to spread all of the buffet amongst that one narrow group of people. And then knowing how many times that you need to make your phone call. You know how many times? If you only did the one call, it's not enough. It was only 2 calls, it wasn't enough. It was actually the amount of calls that you made to stay in front of that referral source and that customer so that they felt like you were making so many phone calls that you needed to stop. It could have been just the 1, and it could have been just the 5. And then last but not least is getting to know what is it that your business model is supposed to be. Because knowing those key performance metrics, whether you need to make those 3 phone calls, those 1 phone calls, those 5 appointments, those emails, those social media reels, the podcast that you may or may not be producing. Of course, you can always come and see us for that.
Hey, everybody. I really enjoyed the conversation today. My biggest takeaway is staying in what I call the green zone. And with the challenges of the market over the last 3 years, there's times where, it's been so challenging. And, I know as salespeople, we're all in these hunts and you lose a deal and it's easy to get down. But I'm in the green zone right now, building this company and thinking what I can do and how I can hustle and how I make it better. And I think that's really what it comes down to with loan officers right now, is staying in that kind of positive zone, surrounding yourself with people who are doing it, not people who are complaining about it, taking advantage of the tremendous tools for marketing that are at your disposal right now, but also remembering that we're in a sales capacity and you got to be out there doing those business generating activities. So stay in the green zone, take massive action, be strategic with the tools that you have around you, and align yourself with great partners.